Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, it's David here and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk ATLUS and Persona 3 Reload again because I want to give you guys 10 reasons why you should totally be excited for Persona 3 Reload if you are not already, or if you are and you need more reasons to be excited. But before we do, if you didn't know, we are currently running a giveaway on the channel for a free copy of Persona 5 Tactica on the platform of your choice. The giveaway is for subscribers only, so make sure you are subscribed, and once you are, you can click the link down in the description below, enter a few information, and you are set. The winner will be picked in just a few days as of the time of recording this video. Good luck, and now let's get into the video. So let's get into it. The first reason why you should be excited for Persona 3 Reload is super easy and simple. It's whenever you look at gameplay or trailers, it's the first thing that you'll see, the visuals. Persona 3 is getting remade for the Reload version of the game in Unreal Engine, which is an engine that is well known for being able to deliver good graphics. And whenever you're looking at trailers or gameplay for Reload, it looks extremely crisp on all platforms. Very, very beautiful game from start to finish. Everything's remade basically, so you're in for a treat in terms of visuals. Now, speaking of being completely remade, the soundtrack for Persona 3 Reload is completely remade as well. A brand new soundtrack for the game. ATLUS really went all in with this game, so brand new tracks, older tracks that were remixed. It is an absolute treat. In the original Persona 3 game, there was a lot of tracks, but it could still get repetitive every now and then, with especially some of the battle tracks. So now, apparently, they're fixing this with the new soundtrack, so that is certainly one of my personal reasons as to why I am very excited for Reload. Now, in terms of gameplay, obviously, there is a lot of things that aged a little bit when it comes to a PlayStation 2 game, and now we're on PlayStation 5 and other equivalent platforms. And one of those gameplay mechanics for Persona 3 has to be the fatigue mechanic. So whenever you explore the big dungeon in P3 called Tartarus, randomly, one of your party members could get fatigued, and that would cause issues. Just a crusty mechanic, and I'm just glad to report it's completely gone in Reload. So the development team assumed that, hey, maybe that wasn't the best thing to have in the game, so they just completely took it off. It kind of made sense. I know some older fans will argue that, hey, there's a reason why this mechanic was there. But honestly, that reason is not strong enough versus the problems that it caused for the players, so I'm totally glad to see that this is absolutely gone. Now, in terms of gameplay changes, once again, there's another thing that I feel is really cool. Other things, I should say, being the gameplay in combat has changed. So the combat is very much still a modern Persona combat system, turn-based system and everything. So we're not changing to action with Persona, it is still turn-based, but there is still some changes. In the original version of P3, there is one feature that is very popular in RPGs nowadays, and it's party control. The ability to control your whole party. In the original P3, you could only control the protagonist, and the other party members, you could kind of control them, but not directly. You had to give them commands. So let's say, Yukari, I want you to be offensive. Mitsuru, you gotta be supportive, because I want Mitsuru to support me. And you know, it's all those commands that you could give, but it's not direct commands. You're not choosing which spells to do on which enemy, or which attack, or which defend, you know. And in Reload, that is still an option, but you can also toggle full party control like in the portable version of Persona 3. So fans of the original combat system will be happy with this non-direct command feature, which is also available, and newer fans of Persona will be able to experience a combat system with direct party control like in 4 and 5, and that is a fantastic thing to have in a remake, in my opinion. Now, when the game showed up at PAX and at Gamescom, a lot of people were able to play the demo of Reload, and another feature that is completely new that was added to Reload is some type of button pass mechanic. And I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so if you want to check out gameplay from Gamescom, which people were not supposed to record, but it's out there, if you want to check it out, you can do so. But there's a new mechanic, which is a button pass mechanic, which is very similar to what you will find in Persona 5, which is actually called button pass. And that was a mechanic that I found very fun, makes the game a little easier too. So I have to say though, it's a little different in 3, but it's still there, and that is another gameplay feature that is very exciting to me. Before I keep going with my reasons as to why you should be excited for Reload, if you want to have information on the actual release itself, different editions of the games and DLCs and everything, you can check out my Everything We Know So Far About Persona 3 Reload guide on the channel. I will link it down in the description below, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. Now, another thing that is absolutely exciting to me when it comes to Reload is the voice acting cast. I mentioned it in my Everything We Know So Far video, but the game has been fully voiced and has been fully re-voiced, if I can say it that way. So all new voice actors for Persona 3 Reload. Every single character has a new voice actor and they sound great. We've seen them at Anime Expo in a panel. They all sound great. You can find that online as well if you're interested. And one thing that is also exciting when it comes to voice acting is, again, I mentioned Tartarus before, the main dungeon of the game. You are spending a lot of time, multiple hours in Tartarus when you're playing Persona 3. Well, what's interesting is in Reload, they added voiced dialogues and voiced conversations between characters when exploring the dungeon. That's fantastic. That is a fantastic addition to the game. I'm really looking forward to seeing new conversations. You can talk to party members in Tartarus and they're voiced with their new voice actors. So all of that to me is just extremely exciting when it comes to P3 Reload. Very, very excited for that. Now, this point is simple, but I still feel it's important to bring up. The game is clearly inspired by Persona 5 in certain aspects. I'm talking about the visual style, the UI, and just in general, the art direction. And if you have been a Persona fan for years, this is something that Persona fans have asked ever since Persona 5 released. Hey, give us Persona 3 in the P5 engine. This is not what you're doing here because P5 engine is an in-house engine and P3 is an Unreal Engine, but it's still clearly the visuals from P5 that are in this game. Very different. It's not a copy of P5, far from it. It's a completely different game. But when you look at the menus, when you look at the UI and the art style, it is very much like P5, and Persona 5 is probably the most stylish game that you'll find, or at least it's on top of the list for a lot of people. So that is good news in terms of Reload, because man, people will look at Reload and they'll be like, hey, that's another Persona 5 like game, right? And that is a good for sales for ATLUS and for us fans who wanted that to happen for a long time. If you guys know me, I'm always praising multi-platform and I'm always praising for good games to be playable for as many people as possible. Well, sadly, Nintendo fans won't be able to play Reload, but otherwise the game is on all platforms, and I always will bring that up when it comes to ATLUS because this used to be a big problem for them, exclusive on one platform, and this one skips this platform, and this one, and it's exclusive for that reason, and it was a big mess. Persona 3 Reload, global release, releasing on all platforms and PC, again, but Switch. But that is still very good, a very good first step for ATLUS, and I fully believe that at some point, every game that they make will be available on all platforms. And to me, which I am a multi-platform enjoyer, this is good to see. I'm very excited for this. Another small point that makes me very excited is I am not a fan of DLC. And when it comes to Reload, again, make sure you check out my guide. There is a bunch of DLC, but they're only cosmetics and optional DLC, so they're not cutting content from the main game. A certain chapter or a certain section of story content is not cut from Reload. If you don't buy the DLC, you will get the full Persona 3 experience, which leads me to my next point, which is, I know you guys probably heard that P3 Reload is not complete, that there is content from other versions of Persona 3 that are cut for this release, and it's kind of true, it's kind of false at the same time. Pretty much, let me start with Persona 3 Portable. Persona 3 Portable has a different protagonist. It is a female main character, and as far as we know, she's not in Persona 3 Reload. And that certainly is a bummer. That being said, she came with other characters like Theodore in the Velvet Room and different social links and everything. This is cut content that we're missing from Reload, and I will not argue against anyone telling you that. So that is the true side of things. And in terms of FES though, we're getting content from FES. It's been confirmed by the producer of the game. We're not getting everything from FES. We're getting some of the social links, like the IGES social link will be there, but we're not getting the answer, which is an additional section in FES that, believe me you guys, if you played the answer, I'm not going to argue against your opinion, but when it comes to my opinion, I have a strong opinion on the answer, and I think they're doing us a favor by not putting it in this version of P3. So to me, I'm looking at Reload and I'm like, I'm going to play this bad boy, and I don't think I will want to go back to other versions of the game. It sucks for the female main character and their fans, but they gave us a remastered version of Portable a few months back on all platforms, so that at least is still an accessible option. It's available on all systems, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, so you can still go ahead and play that. But when it comes to Reload, there is no female main character, sadly, but everything else should be there, which, with all the other reasons that I mentioned and all new additions, to me will still make this game the definitive version of Reload. I might be wrong, but for now, this is what I'm thinking, and I'm very excited for Reload. There's still potential for a Royal version of Persona 3 Reload, Persona 3 Royal Reloaded, or some garbage like that. It would be an Atlus move, and they could give us female main character, which would, you know, change the game for a lot of people, right? And then give us the answer, give us the rest of things that from FES that they did not confirm that isn't there. It is always an option. I hope it's not gonna happen though, because come on, the re-releases, we're good. Hey, thank you all so much for watching this video. I have way more content coming in the next few days in terms of what's being shown at Tokyo Game Show and other RPGs. So if you want more content on Atlus, you're at the right place. Make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. But if you're also a fan of other RPGs, especially Japanese role-playing games, you are also at the right place. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye.